With some time, throwing this side, almost picked by Sam Madison. He's eyeballing Moss, saying, I was close.
Yeah, that time the Giants came with a blitz off the slot by R.W. McQuarters. It was picked up beautifully, and really Campbell had all kinds of time. That's the reason that the Redskins love to keep extra people in to block for that situation right there. So Jason Campbell doesn't have to think about protection. It's always going to be there for him. Limited the number of people downfield in the routes, though.
We see punter Derek Frost for the first time. R.W. McQuarters moving up to field this one and gets it into Redskin territory. Brought down at the 42-yard line. Adam Archuleta coming up with a hit. Now, Archuleta's an interesting case. This is a guy who was signed in the offseason, 7-year deal, highest number ever given to a safety, a $35 million deal, $10 million in bonuses. He hadn't played for 6 weeks.
Well, and the reason he hasn't is he's the same kind of safety that Sean Taylor is. He's a down-in-the-box, play-the-run safety. And I have to tell you, at the time that I heard the signing, I said, why in the heck would they want Adam Archuleta? Because they bring him here, and he was, in essence, a free safety, which meant he had to cover people. He's fast, but he's not a cover guy at all. And when he got here, they finally figured out, well, forget it. He can't play it back there with Sean Taylor, and he's a better player, so we're going to play him.
And the bad blood is starting to boil. He said, these people have basically lied to me. Manning will throw it to Barber. He'll be short of the marker as he's dropped at the 35 by Kenny Wright.
You know, they didn't lie to him. They just misjudged his talents. His talent is not in covering people. And he was asked, especially with some of the injuries early on this season to Sean Springs and some of the other players in this secondary, he was asked to play a different role than what he could play. And Archuleta just simply couldn't fulfill that role. And they said in the locker room, it was obvious. He wasn't the guy, and so they had to make a change.
This figures to be our final play of the first quarter. Manning will throw for it. Throwing behind David Tyree, and he's dropped right there as the quarter comes to a close. The Redskins find themselves leading 7-3 on a bomb from Anton Randall to Santana Moss, but the Giants are on the move.
It's no fun when you can't sleep. Time seems to stand still. You just can't switch off. And it feels like you're the only one. But you don't have to put up with it. Nitol can help you drift off into a natural sleep. So you wake up refreshed in the morning. Good mornings follow a good Nitol.
This is my motivation.
You can do it, Al.
This is fun to watch.
This is my off day.
Who says that the NHL isn't exciting?
This is how you pronounce my name. Dion.
Moving St. now, or?
This is my Stanley Cup haircut.
Here, look at the fans.
Equal to the task.
We have had a whale of a hockey game here tonight. Wow.
As we get set for the start of the second quarter in a 7-3 ball game, 15-year veteran Bob Whitfield has checked in at left tackle, and David Deal has moved back to his left guard spot. Gray Rugemer seems to be fine on the sideline.
I think that experiment failed. The first time David Deal gave up that sack to Andre Carter, they said, all right, we've seen enough of that. We forgive you for the 2 headbutts.
Tiki will get it. Right behind Whitfield, not finding much there. Of course, the problem has been that with Whitfield in there, they've had to use Tiki and keep him in the backfield to help out on that side.
Yeah, that's what people don't understand. When a player like Luke Pettigrew, who was their best pass blocker, goes down, and you bring in Bob Whitfield, who's been a good player, but clearly at the end of his career now, you have to leave Tiki Barber in the backfield to chip and help block, and all of a sudden your passing game now is just spread amongst your wide receivers and the tight end, and your best athlete sitting there blocking.
And your most consistent wide receiver, your security blanket, Amani Toomer, has been out since week 7. Manning will throw this one in and out of the hands of Vernon Fox. And man, has that been a problem for the Skins all year long. They just can't get any takeaways.
And for Eli Manning, this is the issue that I have with him at this point in his career right now. Here comes a blitz, okay? He's going to pump fake, he sees the blitz, and he just starts to look uncomfortable. He falls away from this throw, and it should have been intercepted. At that point, you have to be Tom Brady. You have to stand in there and say, if they hit me in the mouth, they hit me in the mouth. But I am not going to fall away from this throw. I'm going to stand in there and make it, take a shot, but you can't just throw the thing up in the air like that.
His critics do say that he sees the rush, and he gets happy feet.
Here they come again.
He'll throw this side, and completing it to Plaxico Burress, his first catch of the night. Gets the Giants to the 15-yard line.
Better. That was better. Again, pressure comes, and the Redskins are going to continue to pressure until Eli proves that he can stand in there. But even then, you could see a little flinch at the end of that throw as he fell away from it. The problem that the Redskins have is they don't have very good cornerbacks. Now, Carlos Rogers is probably the best of what they have, but with Sean Springs out with the shoulder issue, broke his shoulder a week ago, Kenny Wright, Adi Jamo on the outside, and they don't want to match up one-on-one coverage against the Giants receivers, so it limits their pressure. They've pressured much less this year than they have in the past.
Manning with time, now pressured from the backside. Throws this one deep in the corner of the end zone, but Tim Carter appeared to be out of bounds there.
Well, Tim Carter here went right to the back of the end zone and had a chance to make that play. My preference is that you go help your quarterback a little bit more and come back. But for the Washington Redskins, this has been an historic season with the fewest takeaways, only 12 on the entire year. And unless they get at least 3 tonight, they're going to set a new record.
Only 6 interceptions all year long, and the fact they didn't have that other one will hurt them now as the Giants score. Tiki Barber, touchdown.
And when all else fails, and who do you run behind? Big old Bob Whitfield and David
Bob's still a
Deal.
road grader.
You know what? And I'll bet you Bob Whitfield's a little mad. If you know Bob at all, he can get fired up in a hurry on you. But that time they went right that way and got the ball in the hands of their playmaker. Eli Manning's a good young quarterback, but when you're in a playoff, essentially playoff football game, Tiki Barber has to be the guy.
Jay Feely makes it a 10-7 ball game. The Giants move out in front, and the Redskins are left to wonder what could have been. Potential interception in and out of the arms of Vernon Fox. It's a 10-7 ball game.
As well as being a thirst-quenching soft drink,
yes, that's right, Dave.
A Sprite is also a sort of goblin. This Sprite is not so refreshing at a festival. And it definitely hasn't got any taste.
Here we go. Right and left and right and right. Left and right and right and left.
Try new Sprite Z. Great Sprite taste, 0 added sugar.
Knock the out of him.
And he's blasted.
Let's go now, DJ. Let's go. Let's go hit somebody. Hit somebody. Oh, what a hit.
Let me hit the ball, Dave.
Anybody get number that truck that hit him?
We're back in the nation's capital on a Saturday night where Tiki Barber has just scored from 15 yards out to move the Giants out in front 10-7 over the Redskins. Just Barber's 3rd rushing touchdown of the year. Usually it's Brandon Jacobs pulling the heavy load as they get close to the goal line.
I don't think Tiki Barber's quite ready to retire yet.
Well, that's not what he told us, right?
Yeah, he's playing awfully well out here tonight.
And he took some heat in New York this week. Some people suggesting that he's mentally checked out.
You know what? I've never seen it in his play. with some of his comments, I might agree with that, but I've never seen it in his play.
Cartwright will get a chance to return this one from his own 2. Needs a block, doesn't get it as he crosses the 30. Here's another look at the touchdown.
Well, here's the matchup I want you to watch right out here. You've got Visanthe Shenko, who's in there because of the injury to Jeremy Shockey. Now, Shenko is not nearly the pass receiver that Shockey is, but he is a better blocker. So now with him playing the tight end position, does that mean that we see more of a running game and more of a running style today and less of Eli Manning in the passing game? And I would argue that's a very good thing.
Now, would that be Kevin Gilbride's guidance, or would it have been any different with Huffnagel?
There's no question I'm seeing a heavy influence of Kevin Gilbride right now.
Betts pushed out of bounds as he crosses the 40. Matthias Kiwanuka getting there.
And Kevin Gilbride, of course, taking over the play calling this week. And there is a statistic that I think is really significant. The Giants script their first 15 plays or so. On that script, Tiki Barber is 60% of the offense. The rest of the game, he's 48% of the offense. So what that means to me, and Tom Coughlin probably as well, is that they're getting away from what they want to do. They're freelancing with their play calling, and I'm sure it has something to do with the reason that they made the change.
This is Betts getting the first down in the arms of Brandon Short. We had a shot of Gilbride on the sidelines, and that's somewhat significant because what was one of the things Tiki talked about yesterday about having the coordinator on the sideline so that things aren't lost in communication as he asks questions and makes statements upstairs.
Yeah, for whatever reason, Huffnagel started the season being moved from the sideline upstairs. And Tiki said it was such a huge mistake because I couldn't go over there and tell him what we were doing. He said I would tell somebody who would tell somebody who would tell somebody, but it was clearly lost in translation.
Campbell, Moss is open, in and out of his hands. Will Demps coming over. Moss clearly had a play on that one.
Well, that should have been a penalty that time, I believe, on R.W. McQuarters. That time Santana Moss ran a swing route. He broke to the outside and then went up the field. And McQuarters basically hooked him when he made the turn. It happened well before that. Sort of an out and up move. And when he went out, McQuarters bit on it and then grabbed him. The officials missed it.
Campbell started the game hitting his first 4. He has missed his last 4 now. And Betts getting stacked up on the left side for no gain. Barry Cofield coming across. First man to get there.
Boy, Matthias Kiwanuka can run. He can't tackle so well when he's going against Vince Young. But watch him come all the way across the backfield here and make this play. I hope I drew that the right way. There you go. Just going to run down Liddell Betts from the backside. That's the kind of athleticism, and that's the reason they drafted him despite having all the other defensive ends on this roster.
So Campbell figures to be throwing on 3rd and long. Low in the arms of Chris Cooley. They're saying catch, but it's going to be short of the marker. R.W. McQuarters up there with the coverage.
Yeah, essentially they had a box and one look that time against Cooley, and McQuarters just had him in man coverage all the way, and when Cooley stopped short of the line, I don't think McQuarters could believe it. He was like, okay, you want to catch it right there? Go ahead, no problem with me.
The coaches in the stands want the Redskins to go for it on 4th and 3, but that's not going to happen. Derek Frost has come onto the field, and he'll kick it away. McQuarters barely gets this one off. McQuarters lets this one drop. The Redskins will down it inside the 5 at the 2-yard line. So Manning and the Giants will start in the shadow of their own end zone when we come back.
Call and text your T-Mobile mates more, so you won't miss a thing. One great rate on pay-as-you-go. Mates rates from T-Mobile.
We're playing San Diego. 2 catches, 2 touchdowns, and puked in between. And that's when I knew it.
I felt like I was playing with little kids and I was a grown man, like Superman.
I ran the fastest 40 at the camp, and I was still 15 years old. So that's when I knew I was gonna be pretty good. Oh yeah.
We're back in Washington where the Giants are pushed back at their own goal line. Tiki Barber so far tonight, 64 of the Giants' 76 yards of total offense.
Yeah, and this is the stadium, and well, not this is stadium, but this was the team that he loved as a kid growing up in Virginia, and guess who his favorite coach was? Of course, Joe Gibbs, right? He was a big Redskins fan, and now for potentially this to be his final game, who knows? Although he's playing like he doesn't want it to be his final game.
He figures to get it here. Finn is the up back. Manning will throw from his own end zone. Throwing low for Darcy Johnson. Incomplete. Tiki Barber, as we noted, is bringing his career to a close, and he does so having established a new mark of 13,000 plus yards for the previous 7 years. The man whose mark he eclipsed is standing by on the sidelines with us, Marshall Faulk. Hey, Marshall.
How's it going, guys?
All right, thanks. Hey, you think Tiki's going to miss football? You're a guy who's just out of it.
You know, without a doubt, he's going to miss football. But I think that is more important to Tiki right now are the outside things, broadcasting and standing on the sideline or maybe even in the studio talking about other things other than football is what he's looking forward to.
They give that time to the up back. What are your thoughts, Marshall? Chris and I were talking about it here, how Tiki has said that he absolutely still has a passion for the game, but he doesn't have a passion for any of the other parts of it. Can he divide his mind like that, or if you're a teammate, have you reason to question his commitment?
You know, I think it's more, he's been on one team, and I know for me, I probably would have ran into the same thing. But when I got traded from the Colts to the Rams, that kind of energized me and gave me an opportunity to play for something other than just for that team. I think right now, the things that are going on this team and them not having an opportunity to win the Super Bowl and maybe not make the playoffs are starting to wear on him.
Can you imagine?
Jim Finn with the completion there gets the Giants a much-needed first down. I'm sorry, Chris, go ahead.
Marshall, you've had a chance to work in television for a year now. Which one would you say is more exciting?
You know what? Without a doubt, football is far more exciting on the field. Covering it has been a pleasure. I've enjoyed Deion, Mooch, and Rich.
You can't wait to get back to playing football.
Oh, I love playing football. It's just a whole different ball game when you get to suit up and get in between the lines.
Marshall, thanks very much. Happy New Year, my friend.
All righty.
The Giants have chosen to burn their second timeout of this half. And again, we can't state it enough that this could be Tiki Barber's last game. If he does, he goes out in a blaze of glory. He has an opportunity tonight to not only, we were talking about eclipsing Marshall Faulk for a 7-year span, how about eclipsing Jim Brown with perhaps the finest rushing season in a final season of anybody who ever played the game?
You know, I respect him, and he's obviously such a talented guy, and he can do anything. But the last 3 years of his career have been his career. I mean, he was good before, but he started lifting weights. He gained about 20 pounds of muscle.
He stopped fumbling.
He stopped fumbling in part because of the weightlifting. He said that there was so much work that I did on just grasping the ball and strengthening my grip, and now he's flanked out wide here, that it really made a difference along with all the things that Tom Coughlin taught him.
Brandon Jacobs will get his first carry of the night and puts a lick in the hole on Cornelius Griffin, who came up to stop him and had the misfortune of hitting him high.
Well, the Giants have been watching teams spread them out and run the football, and now you have the Giants doing the exact same thing. They take Tiki Barber out of the backfield and put in big old Brandon Jacobs, who is one of my favorite players in the league. I love to watch him run over people, and boy, that is really tough when you get some of those inside linebackers isolated, like a Lamar Marshall, who's only about 225 pounds, trying to tackle him one-on-one.
Fake to Tiki inside. Manning with pressure. Throwing deep. Incomplete, intended for Sonoris Moss. Kenny Wright with good coverage. That was Andre Carter who was pressuring Manning from behind.
And that was Eli Manning at his best. Watch this one. He's going to really stand in there on this throw. Sums right there. This thing's going to take a little while. Stands in there. Now deliver it. Now take the shot. Now you look like a Tom Brady out there. Stand tall in that pocket. If you get beat up a little bit, so be it. And that was pretty close down the field by Kenny Wright. Kenny Wright got picked on a week ago.
Big down for the Giants, or the Redskins would figure to come away from a punt with good field position. Manning completing to Burris. First down, Giants. Burris' second catch of the night.
They're trying to do some combination coverages on the outside, which is why that you're seeing the Giants go the other way with some throws to Carter, some throws to Moss, some different guys. Here they end up with the safety coming over the top, and they're trying to run to them. Basically, Plexico Burris now is the #1 option on this offense as far as the passing goes, and the Redskins are trying to take that away and force it to the other guys on the field.
12-yard completion gets the Giants a new set of downs, and they'll call Barber's number, but he'll lose a yard.
Boy, Joe Salavea inside is doing a pretty good number. That time he had David Deal and just sort of pressed him back into the ball carrier and left no gap.
Everybody, it seems, has an opinion on what's wrong with the Giants as they've lost 6 of their last 7. Tiki had an interesting take when we spoke with him yesterday. He said, we've gotten conditioned to expect things to go wrong. And when they do, we start to press.
You know, and there was also another player that told me that I've never been on a team with such a fragile psyche. That when things start going badly, you see guys lower their head, and hey, this is football. It's going to come down to the fourth quarter. There are going to be mistakes. You just have to expect that.
Manning will throw off his back foot again. We've got a flag. This would figure to be against the Redskins. Carlos Rogers would appear to be the guilty party.
And Carlos Rogers was going stride for stride down the field, and I believe that was Tim Carter.
Illegal contact, number 22. Defense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
He was basically pushing and shoving, but I thought Carter was kind of giving it back a little bit too. There you see essentially a cutoff, and pretty good call there by the officials. What they don't want to give the defensive backs the advantage on is to cut in front of the receiver and basically impede their progress, and they refer to it as the cutoff, as you might expect, and that time he got caught on it.
Moves the Giants out to the 33 on a drive that started at their own 2. Barber will get it on first down and gets another first down for the Giants before Sean Taylor comes up to apply the lick. Matchup of 21s gets the Giants to the 45.
The Redskins are going to have to make a decision back here. Are they going to continue with the 2 deep, which essentially means you only have 7 in the box against Tiki Barber? Those safeties are backpedaling out of there and a good 15 yards deep, and that is too much room for Tiki Barber. If you don't bring that 8th man down in the box, Tiki Barber might go for 200 tonight.
Barber again. Barber breaking tackles. A lot of room out in front. Needs a block from Burris. Gets it. Touchdown, Giants.
Maybe 300.
55 on that, Rob, gives Barber 123 for the night, which is exactly what he had when these teams met in week 5.
And boy, does he have a friend in his fullback, Jim Finn. I won't try and draw on it because I'll just be drawing over the top of Tiki Barber. Watch Finn come in and take a big shot there against Rocky McIntosh and just spring him in the open field. Tiki Barber slowed down a little bit at the end of that one, almost got caught.
Feely on for the extra point, which is good. And the Giants have taken a 10-point lead with 5:44 to go in the first half. They lead the Redskins 17-7.
Technology has made your morning easier. Why not your shave? The Philips Smart Touch XL is designed to shave more with every touch, with 3 shaving rings in each shaving head. And because it pivots to stay on your face and neck, even tricky hairs are cut. Simplicity is making every stroke count.
TV Digital ist da. 14 Tage volles Programm. Top-Übersichtlichkeit im großen Format. Neu und einzigartig in Deutschland. Komplett mit allen Programmen von Kabel Digital Home. Plus ARD, RTL, Pro7 und Co. in einem Heft. Alle 31 Kabel Deutschland Programme mit Bewertung und allen Sendeterminen. Bestellen Sie jetzt Ihr Abo unter 0180 5 99 77 44. TV Digital. Das ist die Zukunft.
Play football. New Saints head coach Sean Payton calls Drew Brees a proven winner. Brees is trying to bounce back from a major surgery this offseason. In his 4 years as a starter in San Diego, Brees threw 80 touchdown passes and over the last 2 seasons had a 65% completion percentage, second only to Peyton Manning. Look for Drew Brees to make a significant impact in his first season with the Saints.
Following the longest run of Tiki Barber's season and the longest drive the Giants have engineered in the last 4 years. Yeah. 97-yard drive.
I just don't get...
The Giants have taken a 10-point lead. I'm sorry.
I don't get what the Redskins are doing. Are they more afraid of Eli Manning and this decimated receiving core than they are Tiki Barber? They need to get that safety down the box, make some plays.
Brock Cartwright will move up to his own 9-yard line to field this one. He'll cross the 30. We've got a flag down on the field. Let's wait.
During the return, holding, number 58, receiving team. 10-yard penalty, be a first down, timeout.
Jeff Posey, the offending party, has pushed the Redskins even farther back with 5:39 to play in the first half. They're trailing 17-7.
Joe Thornton has some speed. You can't stop him. A shot!
You're watching NASN, the North American Sports Network, a new and exciting sports channel dedicated to the best in live North American sports 24/7. On NASN, you can experience over 100 live NFL games this season, plus the playoffs and the Super Bowl live. Watch up to 175 regular season NHL games and live postseason, including the Stanley Cup Finals. Feel the excitement of live Major League Baseball with up to 260 regular season games and exclusive coverage of the World Series. NASN also brings you an exclusive lineup of college sports with live college football and basketball. And with a daily lineup of sports news, talk shows, highlights, and analysis, NASN is your channel for the very best in live North American sports. Visit NASN.com for scheduling news and information.
Tiki Barber is all smiles on this Saturday night, and with good reason. 10 carries, 123 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He and the Giants are out in front 17-7. Campbell will throw on first down. Finds nothing and gets a gain of 2 before taking a pop from Brandon Short. Campbell is down.
All right, let's just show you on the touchdown quickly here. You're going to see Vernon Fox come down and try to be the 8th man in the box, but you have to make the tackle. And this is what they did last week when they were playing the St. Louis Rams. They got themselves in position and missed the tackle.
Meanwhile, Jason Campbell is still down, and the Redskins don't like it. They think he went feet first, and Brandon Short came up and applied the lick in a move not unlike the Gathers hit on Trent Green.
Well, he was trying to slide. It wasn't much of a slide, but Brandon Short got him. Tough. A lot to ask those guys to be able to determine that late whether you're sliding or not.
There was a moment there where I thought, that was a pretty doggone good throw. I can probably play.
My sophomore year against Thomasville, I only got 3 balls. And those 3 went for 144 yards and 2 touchdowns. I knew right then that I was on my way.
And the stadium was rocking. It was packed. Got a total of 400-some yards. That's when I knew.
When people stopped calling me Archie's boy, started calling me Peyton, that was a big moment for me.
Young Jason Campbell has come off the field under his own power. He's getting checked out on the sidelines, and the veteran Mark Brunell, who was their starter for the first 9 games of the year, has checked back in to the boos of the crowd here at FedEx Field.
Well, they don't forget here, do they?
Looked like Jansen jumped on the right side, 76.
Ball start, number 76, offense. 5-yard penalty. It's still 2nd down.
And Mark Brunell, you have to remember, went out with the 5th highest quarterback rating in the NFC. But basically that 3-6 record is what did him in. And they said, well, if we're not going to win anything this year anyway, we might as well find out what we have with Jason Campbell. But I have to say, if I were the New York Giants, I'd rather see Jason Campbell right now.
Why?
Yeah, you got a veteran quarterback here, a completely different style than what the Giants prepared for. They knew exactly what they wanted to do with Campbell, and now with Brunell, a little X-factor.
Betts gets tripped up in the hole after a gain of 3. Jabril Wilson coming up. True enough, but Brunell is not a very mobile quarterback anymore. They know where he's going to be.
Right, and it's strange that basically he was taken out, at least in part, wanted to get some young, fresh legs in there, where Mark Brunell at one point in his career was one of the most mobile quarterbacks that there was. But right now you have a guy in there that at one point this season completed 22 straight passes. He's going to play a little ball control to go along with a much improved running game since he last played quarterback. We'll see.
He's a man Tom Coughlin knows well. He was Coughlin's quarterback in Jacksonville for 8 years. Showing some mobility left in his legs. He's not going to get to the first down marker. Will Demps and Antonio Pierce coming up to deny him.
Yeah, and I think at that point, despite those older legs, you got to put your head down and take a shot here. I know it's a